welcome. This is Amari Music Talk, the podcast that is always on the one. I'm Richard Cole. Welcome back. If you're a longtime listener, if you're new to the channel, definitely welcome aboard. It is 2024. Finally, 2023 was, for me, was pretty much a good year. Thanks to everybody that is subscribed and liked and, supported my music as well. So I'm definitely happy with a lot of how 2023 came out. Kind of fell under the weather, sliding right into the holidays. Thought I was going to get some more work done as well as some rest, but turned out I was resting and recuperating, roughly about 95, 98% back. At least well enough to start getting back into the swing of things and setting 2024 off. So again, like I said, if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, also become a Patreon supporter as well. And if you're a longtime listener, like I said, thanks again for all of the support, especially this last year. Again, very happy with the way things have gone, and even happy with the way things are going to turn out for this year as well. So with that out of the way, we figure it is now 2024 and it's a new year. And what will the Prince Estate give us for 2024? Of course, there's been no official word as of yet on anything, no new announcements. But I thought I'd kind of do some predictions, and let's see where this goes. All right, so probably the most anticipated item on my sort of Prince Estate wish list for this year, the Netflix documentary. Again, there's not a lot of official word from Netflix. Seems like the Prince Estate isn't too happy with the results of the documentary. I've heard things to where they voted to kind of not have it released or continue production. Sounded like they were pretty far off, that it was at least near completion. But again, no official word or information in regards to it. I tried to look on IMBD, looked under Ezra Edelman, who is the director of the Prince documentary for Netflix. Couldn't find any information in regards to that. There have been, key Prince associated figures that have commented, over the last year or two in regards to their participation, their enthusiasm for it. But then there's also whispers from individuals that, it's a sensationalized documentary. But with all of that out of the way, for me, it is still probably the most anticipated project for me. Probably the thing I'm most excited to want to see. But will it come out this year? Will we at least get a trailer this year? Will it come out this year? Will it come out in 2025? Who knows? Again, is the estate trying to block the release? If you go on Londell McMillan's site or Twitter feeds or X feeds, whatever you want to call it now, he doesn't seem to be keen on it, and that this is something the estate, of course, this was done prior to this current regime of the estate. So, the money was spent, the contracts were signed. Again, it was well in production. Sound like it was near completion, if it's not completed already. But again, this is something that the new regime appears to not to want the fan base to see. Now, is it because of content? Like what areas of Prince's life and career would they focus on? will it be one of those type of Netflix documentaries that, hey, it'll bring up some stuff that would be painful to want to watch or endure or deal with, and especially members of the fan base that are really so attached that that might be too heavy of subject matter. But will it be something that would kind of get the ball rolling on, hey, maybe let's take a deeper look into this. Let's have this investigation reopened. Okay, the official word, it's accidental, overdose. But, let's really start asking some questions. What really led up to this? And bring some type of closure, and maybe, even though, like I said, it would be painful to deal with, but maybe it would answer some questions that would at least give the passing maybe a little bit more dignity, that would give him a little bit more dignity, or it could sadly go in the opposite direction as well. But could it be the content? Could it be the estate, this current regime feels like, hey, well, that money was spent or whatever was paid for the rights to this, that, then maybe they feel like they're entitled to more money. Who knows? But again, that leads into what would be covered in this documentary. I did an episode of Amari Music Talk sometime last year asking those very questions. But for me personally, I would love for this to be a balanced thing. I don't want it to be a puff piece. I don't want it to be a fluff piece. I don't want it to just hit the greatest hits, of his life, like biopics do, and you don't really get a full sense of the person, the artist, the work ethic, those things. But I want it to be fair and balanced. Let's look at this person as a human being who made this choice to become the type of artist that he became. And did he succeed in that? Were there many more mountains to climb, or, was he able to say everything he needed to say? Let's just have that balanced perspective in that, and focus on the music, focus on it. Because a lot of, because this isn't like a John Lennon or Paul McCartney or even a Jimi Hendrix or even Marvin Gaye, to where you get an open book. Everything that was not said in an interview, everything was said in the music. So hopefully, if this is done well, then maybe we'll get that type of documentary where the music tells the story. And if the narrative goes well, then we get the true sense of the human being through the music, and then maybe the interviews with people that knew him best, maybe the way the narrative flows, key events, that kind of fills in the blanks, and that we walk away from this with knowing more or learning more than what we already know. And trust me, there's a lot of us that think we know all that there is to know and then some, and never met the man or nothing. So, let's hope that documentary kind of does that, is, inform us, educate us, as well as entertain us as well. So that's my most anticipated project, is the Netflix documentary. So, of course, this being 2024, then we've got the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain. There's no denying it. You can't run from it. I'm kind of looking forward to kind of revisiting my memories of 1984, being 18, that summer of 1984 is like, having graduated high school and then going into college. And right in between that was, Purple Rain, in May, When Doves Cry single dropped, and then the album, and then like before even the album, we got the Times Ice Cream Castles, that dropped in the middle of summer. And so this momentum was gaining. And then by the time the movie dropped, just the excitement and the hype. And like I said, my memories just kind of sliding into college with that music kind of sliding in as like a soundtrack almost, not just for the film, but for a lot of us that were around. It became literally the soundtrack of our lives. And for me, like I said, I'm looking forward to kind of revisiting that. For me, as far as that time in the 80s, I kind of preferred, looking back on it now, and kind of some of my feelings as I was listening to this is prior to even seeing the movie, was, listening to the Purple Rain soundtrack. It was kind of like, yeah, this isn't 1999. It isn't that kind of that mystique and that mysterious image and the not doing the interviews and stuff. What Purple Rain, like I said, as it was gaining momentum from, like, I would say maybe July, August, straight into maybe Christmas of 1984, it kind of went from this like kind of cool cult underground figure that, had a couple of major hits, to now he's in that upper echelon with the Elvis and the Beatles. It's superstardom now, and running neck and neck with Michael Jackson's Thriller pretty much for that year. And, some things change kind of forever, most of it for the better, but, it'll be fun to kind of look back. Like I said, if they really ramp up the celebrations for this year, to be kind of fun to look back and kind of weigh what my ears and what my feelings are now versus what was happening in 1984. Will I enjoy the album more? It's a lot to open up, but like I said, since we're talking about the 40th anniversary, then, what do we know so far? Again, no official announcement for anything music wise, but we do have, an announcement for the 40th anniversary book for Purple Rain, which was written by Andrea Swenson. And probably this is something I'm looking forward to as well. I have the, like with the Beatles recently, a couple of years ago with the Get Back, with the documentary. Then you had the Let It Be box set that came out simultaneously. And then there was a sort of kind of commemorative book, so I ended up, eventually getting all three of those items. So to have this kind of done for Purple Rain, yeah, I'm definitely excited for the book as well. But so far, if you go to Amazon, you can pre-order it. Right now, if I'm looking at my Amazon orders. They have it slated to now arrive May 14th. I think the official release date for that book was May 7th. And if you remember the episode that I did in regards to, I can't remember if it was for the book or the speculation of a Purple Rain box set. Does that mean that within like June will we get the Purple Rain box set? But so far, this is tentative release May 14th, previously expected May 7th. Now that may change as we get closer to the date. I don't know where I am in the pre-order queue. So hopefully I will get mine sooner than later. So I'm definitely looking forward to that and what that would include. So definitely Purple Rain 40th anniversary book. And then again, speculating on the box set. Would that come out in June? Also, a 4K 40th anniversary Blu-ray of the movie? Could we get something like that as well? Um, I would be very excited to get that. That would kind of, as far as the Netflix documentary, the box set, well, box set, the book, and a 4K Blu-ray of Purple Rain would probably edge it up in terms of excitement. Um, Purple Rain definitely needs a box set that is on par with what we've been getting with, like the Diamonds and Pearls box set. That was spectacular. Sign of the Times, give or take some tracks that should have been on it. Still spectacular. Same thing with 1999. I think really out of those three, 1999 is probably the closest to perfect. Again, all of these sets are, with at least from my opinion, are 2-3 songs away from being perfect. Absolutely perfect. But Purple Rain definitely deserves that level of treatment for a box set. I know there's folks that have said, "Oh, well, we got it in 2017," but that doesn't count as a box set. That's an expanded edition, and it really was just, to me, I think, just to quickly cash in. They just thought that, whoever was running things at that particular time, they hadn't quite figured it out, and it's still like within that year of, especially when there's no plan, there was no will for this stuff to say, hey, well, this is what I want done with the vault. Kind of like David Bowie. David Bowie mapped out exactly how he wanted his reissues done and remasters and what comes out, what doesn't come out. He was able to plan that out before his passing. But unfortunately with Prince, we don't get that at all. So I'm hoping that what they'll do, this will be a comprehensive box set. Check out my video, how to make the perfect Purple Rain box set. Definitely we need 2 or 3 discs of vault tracks. Definitely have it cover the material while Purple Rain was in production. So I think that was like from July or August of '83, like right on to, I think, like May or something of '84. And whatever was recorded, and especially stuff that was intended for the movie, definitely include that in the box set. Like I said, that deluxe edition, it was cool. Like I said, I enjoyed the, Dance Electric. That was on there. I didn't think, it had nothing to really do with Purple Rain, but it was nice to have. There's a couple of tracks that definitely were not considered for inclusion in the film per se, but I think depending on the timeline, they were recorded well after the movie had been in the can, well after the songs for the soundtrack had been picked and the album was ready to go into, manufacturing. So I think, like I said, to have a comprehensive historical document of this album with a proper box set should be, definitely something to look forward to. And again, a 40th anniversary. I remember getting the 20th anniversary, the DVD. Eventually I got the Blu-ray for it. But with that, and that had some cool documentaries. You had the music videos included, and especially they included, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think if I remember correctly, The Time, Jungle Love, The Bird is on there. Apollonia 6 Sex Shooter, those videos definitely include those again with the 4K. But, maybe a more updated documentary. Maybe some deleted scenes, if those are available, definitely show some of those and add those to it. But yeah, I would love for this year to really definitely focus on Purple Rain. Like I said, for detractors of that era, detractors of that album, look, without the success of that album, whatever you clinging to in the 90s, whatever you clinging to in, the 2000s, cool. You enjoy that, that's cool. Because like I said, I'm the type of person, I grew with the artist. So it's like, yeah, I have fond memories of the 80s. They were cool, but I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. At least don't want to go back and stay. But it was always cool even after Purple Rain. Like, oh, Parade unfolding in real time, Sign of the Times unfolding in real time. Everything that was going on between like 93 and 95, the way that was unfolding, that was just as exciting, because it's like, okay, cool. I'm not in my late teens anymore. I'm now in my mid to late 20s and going into that. And then by the time you hit the later 90s, now I'm in my 30s at that point. And, didn't agree with every single choice, didn't agree with every single album, but it was always something interesting and it was always something to look forward to, And like I said, it's cool to like what you like, but, I'm tired of all this, division online. Not just with that, but with everything else, it's just like, look, just like what you like and celebrate it. It's cool. But again, without that major success, had that had been a flop, what we would be listening to out of Prince and what we would enjoy would be radically different, because there would be some choices that would have been taken out of the equation because he's just not on that level. I'm still going to do that video. What if Purple Rain flopped? So that'll probably be one of the next videos. Not the next one, but probably the one after that. I'll do and explore that. What type of, I've got an idea of what type of art, because it wouldn't have been like a flop like he'd been, homeless or nothing like that, or he wouldn't have been just regulated to the oldie circuit, but that would have been a possibility. It's, here's a little red Corvette again, it could have been, but I got an idea, but it wouldn't have been superstar level, but it definitely would have been interesting, and we still would have been on board with it. So definitely check that out when I do that video. So hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and when that video drops, by all means, check it out. So next, I want to talk about, since we got Purple Rain, that anniversary, let's talk about the adjacent albums, such as Apollonia 6, such as the Times Ice Cream Castles. Heck, let's even throw in Sheila E.'s first album, because that was right there in the eye of that hurricane of Purple Rain. Will we get remastered reissues of those albums? Will they have bonus tracks? Now, I don't want to see those albums get reissued and then you've got the original album and then Prince's originals. I would rather see those originals, Prince originals, be on the Purple Rain box set. I would rather have it be part of the Vault Tracks discs for those. But like I would say for the time, definitely include that studio version of The Bird. I remember hearing that for the first time back in the old MySpace days, and Jesse Johnson dropped that on his MySpace page, and I can't tell you how many times I went back and listened to that. To me, I like that version better than the version that's on the album, which is kind of a live version. And don't get me wrong, that version is funky too, but that studio version is just straight fire. It's a straight banger if you haven't heard it. If you can find it, listen to it. But and the thing about this one, I think with the studio version on this one, I don't know if Morris Day is playing the drums on this one, but if Morris Day isn't playing the drums, it's definitely Prince on every single track on the studio version, I think. I have to go back to the Purple Rain Sessions book and check that out and verify that. But that studio version, like I said, if you can find it, definitely check it out. And I think that it deserves an official release. So yeah, if they do a master of the vinyl. That would probably be like a second disc for the vinyl, but I'm thinking CD. So if you do a CD, definitely include that studio version on, and then you've got whatever the single edits that they'll include, probably Tricky, the B side. That'll be nice to have officially on CD remastered. I think there might be a couple of outtakes. The original version of My Summertime Thing. I'm trying to remember if Morris Day did a vocal on Chocolate for then. If so, include that. But yeah, definitely that studio version of The Bird for the Timed Ice Cream Castles. For Apollonia 6, there's a lot of ways you could go. Now, originally I was thinking if they did a reissue and had bonus tracks, of course this wouldn't be fair because it's an Apollonia 6 album, but I think there is a configuration of the Apollonia 6 album that has her doing Manic Monday on it. But I think there's also tracks like there's Vanity's vocal version of Sex Shooter. But I guess I would say if there's any Vanity 6 material from the vault, then if they get around to doing a Vanity 6 reissue, then include the Vanity 6 like Vibrator and some of the other tracks. Like I said, yes, her version of Sex Shooter, include those on that disc. But there is some configurations of the Apollonia 6 album that had tracks that just ended up elsewhere or on somebody else's album, especially Manic Monday's the big one. That was originally intended for that. But yeah, include those bonus tracks for Apollonia 6. And then Sheila E., same thing, just just do a bona fide reissue. I know there was a vinyl reissue quite a few years ago, maybe not even 5 years ago, but there was one for vinyl. But definitely remaster it for vinyl, remaster for CD, and have that available on streaming also. So yeah, and have those just as separate releases. I know there are people that would love for the Time and Apollonia 6 performances from the film be included in the Purple Rain. And that's a good idea. And maybe include those versions. But again, I would think if you don't do that, if you just want to do just Prince originals and just keep it at that for Purple Rain for the box set, then definitely say the version of Jungle Love that you hear in the movie, include that in that Ice Cream Castles remaster, for the bonus tracks. Just do that. But yeah, I would love to, once you kind of get the momentum, once we've all got our Purple Rain box sets, then maybe kind of closer to the end of the year, or that fall going into that holiday season, then maybe drop those 3 albums, or maybe they'll drop those 3 albums like that on a record store day. Possibly, maybe just drop the single standalone vinyl for record store day for those to commemorate the anniversary, and then just later drop a more comprehensive vinyl or CD or something later in the year. But what do you think about it? Would you be excited for those releases as well, or do you want to just stay with just celebrate just Purple Rain and the box set and leave it at that? And as far as Purple Rain, like I said, this is going to be the year of Purple Rain, and I think they'll probably just focus everything just on that. And then, like I said, any ancillary releases, then it would be the Time, Apollonia 6, and Sheila E. And then the following year, concentrate on whatever they're going to concentrate. But if you come out with, say, the Purple Rain box set for, June, if you release that in June, is there a possibility that we could get, say, the Symbol album or the Love Symbol album box set for Christmas? Yeah. Trying to think who. I think I think Frank Zappa and Bob Dylan, they kind of put out stuff kind of twice a year like that, I think. Or they have done it. I don't know how it is with today's economy, and maybe they stopped doing that because of the price points, because that is that is some serious spending. You're talking box sets full of, six, seven CDs, or, six CDs and a Blu-ray or two Blu-rays and stuff. So, that is a lot for the, a lot for the wallet, so it may or may not be a possibility, but hey, what if they just said, just scrap Purple Rain and just re-release the album, put out the 4K Blu-ray, and just leave it at that, and then we'll put out the Symbol box set. I know there's some people that are like, that'll probably be, just like, like, yeah, right, they're going to do that. Or they're going to, just kind of, they'll probably just do that for, like, yeah, the Symbol album. Yeah, forget Purple Rain. But seriously, folks, I don't know. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Like I said, the price point, I know Prince releases have been relatively reasonable, give or take a couple of things. I know that, like, the Welcome to America, that was a bit, because you just had the one CD and the 2 LP vinyl and the price point, and then plus the Blu-ray, people were kind of iffy on the price point for that. But when it comes to like 1999 Sign of the Times, heck, even Diamonds and Pearls, as far as, what you were getting for the, the amount, it seemed somewhat reasonable, especially with these times that we're living in, with the type of inflation we're dealing with. It seems pretty reasonable, and compared to some couple of other artists that have released their kind of legacy sets, one or two where it's just like, man, you're charging that for, come on, and that's too much, and you're only getting like the same amount, or sometimes not even 5 or 6 CDs. It's like 4 CDs, and they want to charge like damn near $200 for it. It's like, come on, that's too much, But yeah, but I would think, in a way, realistically, on some level, you can probably, like I said, you saving up, if they announce it early enough, save up for the Purple Rain box set. And then kind of like I said, as you sliding into the holidays, then a Symbol era box set could work too. I can see that working as well. It's a tough one. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. Would you like to see both? Do you think it would be in your price point to do both? Or is it just like, hey, let's just celebrate Purple Rain this year, and, we'll deal with the Symbol album next year? I feel it should work like that. You do like a classic era release one year, and then you do a later era release for the next year. And in between, because I think they pretty much do stuff for Record Store Day. You can slip in a Camille album on Record Store Day. You can, because that'll be us diehard collectors, and especially fans of that era, that would be for us, or alternated. Like I said, if you got Purple Rain coming out, then I don't know, some kind of later era live show that you could put out on Record Store Day. That might be a good idea. And then when you do the later era box set, whether it's the 90s or the 2000s, then you can do, say, like I said, for Record Store Day, drop the Camille on vinyl, drop that set, and some good ideas. It can work, but like I said, I'm excited. I think prior to Diamonds and Pearls, I was kind of the box set. I was just kind of low because of all the division. It wasn't fun to go on social media because it's like I'm going through the thread and, somebody's pissed off about that. And somebody's got something evil to say about this. And it's just kind of like you got to, keep it moving. Like my song says, keep it moving. Got it all together, ready to go. Keep it moving. And just, like I say, just celebrate what you like. Don't have to put down what you don't like. Just celebrate what you do like. And I think, it just prior to that, it just wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. But once that dropped, all of that went away. And it's just kind of like, what, just ignore stuff on X and Face Crook and all the other stuff, just forget about all of that. But like I said, now, the excitement starting to build up. Like I said, it's a brand new year, brand new approach. What do you think? Should it just be the year of Purple Rain? Just celebrate that and everything connected to it? You think they'll sneak that documentary for Netflix? They think that'll come probably maybe closer to the end of the year. Maybe it'll drop right around summer, to kind of cash in on that anniversary of Purple Rain, or will it drop in 2025? Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And then that will end this episode of Amari Music Talk. Again, thanks for tuning in. Again, hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, visit richardcolemusic.com. Check out the music. Actually, now that I'm back in the swing of things, I can finish the Reset EP. That'll be the next music project. Got all the basic tracks done. Just got to finish everything off at this point. So hopefully I can get that out soon. Hopefully get some physical media of that and Funky Poetic bootlegs available as well. So you can have a nice CD like this one. Aha. Yeah, so can finally hope to get that done this year as well. Also, there's merchandise on richardcolemusic.com. Get your We Funk t-shirt and all the other fun merch that is available, and plus some new stuff coming and more stuff that I'll announce later. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Come back next episode. Hopefully I'll have Chris Johnson available. We're going to talk about Emancipation, talk about that album. And after that, there's going to be the What If Purple Rain Flopped. So be sure to check all of those out when they do drop. And there's other stuff, but I'll announce that later. But until next time, create your day, create your life. Peace.